So I just finished Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, and we need to talk about that ending, explain it, discuss it. It was crazy. Welcome back, friends, to another video here on the channel. Today, we are going to be talking about the ending of Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. What does it mean? Now, this is going to be a little bit of a looser edit for my kind of, explanation kind of Kingdom Hearts videos like I normally do. And we're going to include a little bit of face cam in this one. So I just finished it. If you guys missed my playthrough of Melody of Memory, you should definitely at least check out the ending episode to see my reaction. Maybe I'll upload the reaction separate as well. But I wanted to talk about the ending and exactly what it means, because it sets up the next few chapters of Kingdom Hearts so well, and my mind is melting, and I want to talk about it while it's fresh in my mind. Okay, so I shouldn't have to say this. There are going to be huge spoilers in this video for Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory's ending, and just basically all that going on. Okay, so first things first, once we finish Kairi, well, we see a little bit of Kairi in the final world, right? That's kind of, the main kind of thing we're playing through. But after that, we get a quick little cutscene as Kairi when she's young. And we see that researcher Xehanort finds her and basically seems to put her in a pod. And in this pod, basically tells her, it sends her on a journey, on a task to find a keyblade wielder. And interestingly enough, he says, however, if you arrive in a world that's neither light nor darkness, but somewhere on the other side, your task will be far from easy. And then the pod closes, and he says, if this happens, you must abandon your search. We have failed. So, and then we get a shot of her, actually in the young form in this pod, kind of sleeping. And so it seems like that's how she, I guess, got sent to Destiny Islands. So basically, we've seen in Birth by Sleep that when she meets Aqua, Aqua actually, casts a spell on her to basically protect Kairi should anything ever happen to her. So that's kind of been something that's, I guess, protected her in a way. And so when she's sent, as a kid, I guess that's where she's drawn to Sora's light on Destiny Islands, and that's kind of where everything kind of starts with Kingdom Hearts 1 and onwards. I'm not going into all the details of Kingdom Hearts. We're talking specifically about Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory and that pretty crazy ending cutscene. So again, the whole idea of Melody of Memory, she's going through her memories. At one point, she actually faces normal Xehanort, the bald Xehanort. And they have a little kind of fight. So what's really, really interesting is during this fight with Xehanort, Kairi kind of like turns into Sora, because I guess their hearts are connected or whatnot. And what's interesting is Xehanort says, as I thought, your voice cannot reach us here. So their hearts are still connected, but his voice cannot reach them there. And Xehanort says, now I'm certain of where your heart is. Now, going back to researcher Xehanort and the whole thing that he said to young Kairi, it's clear that Xehanort, through his research, knows exactly about this, other place in this other universe, which we're going to get into in just a second on what this place exactly is. So all of that basically happens. Kairi comes back, and then Xehanort says, do you remember what I told you? Those words hold the answer to what you seek. For that reason, I shall give you your answer. And then he turns into all the different versions of Xehanort until he turns into researcher Xehanort. And then he basically said, again, he quoted, if you arrive in a world that's neither of light nor darkness, but somewhere on the other side, that is the answer basically that he has for her. And that's basically saying where Sora is. And again, we've seen throughout the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, where Sora ends up, right, which is basically Shibuya, which is with all the buildings and stuff. And we had that kind of cutscene with what's his name, dude, I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyways, we had the cutscenes where we've seen parallel characters in this kind of realistic Final Fantasy looking universe and world. And so we get back to a cutscene where they're all talking, Kairi amongst everybody researching her memories and trying to figure out what's going on. And basically at one point Riku comes in and he basically says that he found some info out, and then that's when he brings in the fairy godmother, or well, rather the fairy godmother brings in herself with her magic, And they start talking about things, and she says that there's 3 keys. One of the keys is Kairi's memories. One of the keys is Riku's dreams that he keeps having, which he talks about the dreams about lots of tall buildings and stuff, which again, we've seen that's where the final battle in the Remind DLC is with Sora, and you know, that whole world, if you will. He's in kind of like that more realistic world. And then she talks about a 3rd key, and then obviously at that point we don't know who the 3rd key is, so she actually brings them to the final world, which is very, very interesting. But before she jumps into that, before, you know, we actually go to that part, Ansem is actually talking about, you know, actually the real Ansem, he's talking about how, you know, there's this world right here, right? We have 3 realms. There's the light, the darkness, and between. These are all places that we can travel to because they are on our side. He says this also includes worlds of memories, data, and dreams. He says, if I am correct, then this other side of our world from which voices cannot reach must be a place outside of our reality. Namely, it must be unreality or fiction, which is very interesting, right? Because obviously this other, you know, side of their world would be the real world, I guess you could say, which in our world, Kingdom Hearts world, is what's fiction and unreality. So it seems like there's that kind of double-sided thing, right? Where Sora is, I guess, in this realistic world, which we kind of knew, but we're getting a little bit more information. But he says that is the extent of our knowledge. So they don't really know a whole lot more about that. And then again, the Fairy Godmother talks about, you know, the 3 keys. So they bring them to the final world. What's interesting about this part, once they're in the final world, is they actually go and they talk to the Nameless Star, which is very, very interesting, which again, Sora talked to the Nameless Star throughout Kingdom Hearts 3. So we know about the Nameless Star, and then, you know, they meet Kairi and the Fairy Godmother and Riku. So they all get acquainted, and the Fairy Godmother knows a lot about the Nameless Star, which is very interesting. And the Nameless Star talks about someone that was able to retain their appearance in this world as Kairi, Riku, and the Fairy Godmother are, which ends up they finding out, you know, that was Sora. Obviously we knew that, but they didn't know that. Anyway, so what's interestingly enough is, like I said, the Fairy Godmother says that the Nameless Star she has come from the other side, the world on the other side. So apparently the Nameless Star is actually from the other side, and somehow, by some way, found her way to her other side, which is the final world, which is part of the Kingdom Hearts world, which is very interesting. She's very special. Somehow she, you know, her form was taken from her, and she found her way over here, which is very, 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 very interesting. And so she talks about, you know, about her dream, the Nameless Star's dream coming true very soon, and basically saying that this Nameless Star is able to open a path for them to get to their world, and that you can use the power of waking to go there. Now, unfortunately, because Kairi has not yet, you know, finished her training, she can't go with Riku. She says she wants to go with Riku, but she can't. They have a little quick dialogue, you know, about Sora and all that good stuff. But all that said, you know, Riku basically talks about, you know, the city in his dreams having all these skyscrapers and you know, basically buildings. And the Nameless Star says that the city must be called, might butcher the name, Quadratum. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Quadratum. So apparently the city's called Quadratum, and that's insane in and of itself. So obviously, you know, Riku opens up the pathway with the Nameless Star's help, and basically the way this whole scene ends is that Riku is gone to go do that, but Kairi knows that she can't go with him because she has to finish her training, which we actually will get to a little bit more in a second, because there's some interesting stuff with her training. Not super crazy stuff, but some interesting stuff in that as well. Now, what's interesting in all of this is not just Xehanort that knows about this other side, but apparently the ancient Keyblade masters also know about this other side of the world, and so now it seems like could they have moved on to this other side and just never came back, either by choice or, you know, just maybe they got stuck there. And then that also begs the question, for example, the foretellers, right, from Union Cross back cover, which we see again make a return at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. Where have they been all this time? Could they have went to this other side, and, you know, somehow they're coming back from there, like, and maybe time works different over there? I don't know. So there's all these different questions, right? With, you know, obviously the Master of Masters and Lushu. We see that the Master of Masters is definitely in this real world, the other side, in the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. So we know that the Master of Masters is there, and, you know, he at least knows how to get in between the two, which I guess further begs the question, what on earth is in this black box? Is it somehow something that can help them traverse between the two worlds or whatnot? Of course, like I said, Xehanort, you know, has knowledge of this other side. After his defeat, is it possible that he somehow went to this other side? Like, there's so many questions about this other side, and like I said, we've seen parallel characters on the other side of things, which again, what's really interesting about the Nameless Star is that apparently it's this Nameless Star is actually parallel to someone from the Kingdom Hearts universe as well. So Nomura himself actually hinted that the Nameless Star is a different version of a character that has already appeared, and that her identity will be revealed in the next game. The next game being, I guess, you know, after Melody of Memory, of course, which would make a complete sense based on the cutscenes we've seen in Melody of Memory. So apparently the next game is going to reveal who the Nameless Star is. And when the Nameless Star was kind of talking again, especially Melody of Memory, it kind of gave me a sense of like, just her tone and her personality kind of reminded me of Kairi. So I'm wondering if the Nameless Star is Kairi's parallel. I swear, if that comes true, that is going to be absolutely insane. That's kind of, you know, my theory is that, you know, this Nameless Star is, you know, another version of Kairi from that other side, from that other world, which would be absolutely insane in and of itself. So once the credits roll, we have one last cutscene, which is Donald, Mickey, Goofy, Kairi, and Master Yen Sid, and they're all trying to discuss this whole new situation. Mickey is very, you know, he's very hasty in trying to, you know, go save Sora and help Riku, but Master Yen Sid has different plans for everybody. Of course, you know, the fact that they know pretty much nothing about this other side, this other world, means that they have to remain calm and figure everything out, and all that stuff. So, like Master Yen Sid also mentions, Xehanort must have known for quite some time. He must have been aware of this other world, this other side, if you will. So it's pretty crazy. So what Master Yen Sid goes on to say is, he says, as he was serving as a Keyblade Master, that's when he talks about the ancient masters, that it was known that they'd crossed over into another world, which is crazy. And of course, Xehanort looked into that, and so he probably knew of that as well. So now we're talking about the ancient Keyblade Masters, you know, bringing those into play as well. So again, he says, for now, they must reach out to those in Radiant Garden, the land of departure in Twilight Town, who are searching for Sora, and basically let them know about this new information, what they've learned, so they can, you know, I guess, halt what they're doing, so they can all focus on figuring this new task out. And so Donald and Goofy, that's what he tasks them with, is going to let everybody know, basically, you know, an update. And then Kairi, he actually says, you know, will you continue your training as before? And she says yes, but she would like to continue her training under Master Aqua, which is absolutely super cool, super insane. Of course, you know, that's, you know, so foreshadowing all the way back from when Aqua met Kairi, when Kairi was such a little girl in Radiant Garden, and now they're going to train together. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit of that in whatever, you know, game it comes next. And then for Mickey, he's tasking Mickey with the investigation of this new world and how it's related to the ancient Keyblade Masters. So at this point, everybody has their own thing, and he actually sends Mickey to the world of Scala. So that's where Mickey's going to be going to research things, and then everything, that whole cutscene ends, an oath to return Kingdom Hearts. So that's kind of how, you know, all these, you know, side games usually are. There's kind of like that title that leads into, you know, the next, you know, main entry of Kingdom Hearts, and this one has been an oath to return, which we've seen at the end of the Remind DLC, and now at the end of Melody of Memory. So it's pretty crazy, my friends. There's a lot to this. There's this other world, which seems to be more of a realistic Final Fantasy style kind of world. The question is, are we still going to get Disney worlds, you know, mixed in? I sure hope so. I definitely don't want to see the Disney worlds go away anytime soon, but it would be really cool to explore, obviously, more of this other side, this more realistic world, and see how, you know, it's all going to connect, and, you know, if we're going to, you know, go back and forth basically between the two, and if, you know, we get to discover more about the ancient Keyblade Masters, which I'm sure we will. There's a lot going on. So Riku's on his journey to go find Sora in this other, real world. Of course, we have Kairi, who's going to finish her training with, Aqua. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy all have their tasks as well. So there's so many things to kind of, I guess, go into and, dive into before the next main entry and before we, actually finally get to, saving Sora and, visiting that world and assumingly in Kingdom Hearts 4, I would assume, unless we do that before Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't know how that's all going to work, obviously how they're going to put it out, but we're going to have a bunch of side games before Kingdom Hearts 4, and then eventually we're going to get into that as well. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section below. It's pretty crazy. I'm super excited about, all the endless possibilities. So, obviously this may be the end of the Xehanort saga, but this is definitely not the end of Kingdom Hearts. This is just the first chapter of the whatever comes next. So I'm really excited for whatever comes next. Like I've always said 100 times, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Cannot wait to dive into whatever comes in the future for Kingdom Hearts and the franchise, and hopefully you guys will stick around for the ride as well, because there's going to be a lot more Kingdom Hearts content on the channel as as we get more stuff to talk about and to discover. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are excited too. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and see you guys in another video very soon. Tell them, my friends, game on, and may your hearts be your guiding key.